everyone, to Collect Jurassic here with another Jurassic World Rebirth toy unboxing. This is a big one though. If you watched my last video, I unboxed some pretty cool new figures, including that Distortus Rex figure, right? Pretty crazy, Quetzalcoatlus, and some other non-movie figures, but this is the literal, I think, king of movie figures in my hands right now, because this is the Jurassic World Rebirth T-Rex figure, at least one of them, the first one to come out. This is the Lab Lockdown Tyrannosaurus Rex. Here in the US, this is going to be a Walmart exclusive, which is where I scored this one. If you're interested, check out the caption of this video. I can tell you where to buy this one. But this one is definitely one of the main ones I've been waiting for alongside Spinosaurus, is this T-Rex, because it's just, technically it's an all-new figure, which is really cool. And it's, you'll see. We'll compare it to some old figures, but we'll also just take a look at it in and of itself, and just take in this glorious new T-Rex figure from Mattel for the new movie. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive right in. Looking at the packaging here, this is a pretty standard box format, even for this particular T-Rex figure. Before this one, we had countless figures, T-Rex figures packaged like this, particularly even Walmart exclusives with this T-Rex with the tail off. But it's still cool. You got the Rebirth logo, all the cool artwork. You have the T-Rex actual artwork on here from Rebirth, which is super fun because, some of the boxes have Quetzalcoatlus when it's a Quetzalcoatlus figure. Some of them have Spinosaurus when it's a Spinosaurus figure. I think the Distortus Rex one had Distortus on that artwork spot. So it's cool that they changed that when it's a movie species, and it makes sense. So elsewhere, you got the Rebirth logo again. You have this nice big hero shot on the back that shows how this figure works. And then that red end of the box too. So pretty standard stuff that we've seen on all the Rebirth packaging from that last video. But let's go ahead and get the figure out itself. The box is cool, but let's be honest, the figure itself is way cooler. So pop out a couple plastic tabs, and then usually along the bottom here, you're going to have some kind of foot locking mechanism that you're going to have to take out. So, yep, sure enough, looks like there is a little tab in here that you just have to hopefully just pop off one and it comes off. Yeah, sometimes these things are real tricky though, but I think I got the figure itself out. I just need to get the tail. So we'll go ahead and snip that out. We won't even bother trying to rip it out. Okay, there. Relatively painless freeing of the box. And then the tail here, you can see is a nice little pig hole, a nice little pig joiner. I don't think it matters which direction I put it in, but it snaps in. Preferably it snaps in for good. Twist those feet where they need to be, and then voila, there we go. The Rebirth Lab Lockdown Tyrannosaurus Rex in all of its glory right out of the box. You can see this has got a lot of unique sculpt details that we have not seen on a Mattel Jurassic figure, which is interesting, right? And we'll get into that again with the comparisons, but let's go ahead and just take this figure in, again, kind of for what it is. First off, something that's very different is this line of 3 ridge lines on the back here. If you can see, tons of sculpt detail on these 3 little bumpy lines all along the body. And there's all these big giant muscle wrinkles all over the legs. And then of course the face has got the most distinct detail here. You have those huge scales on the bottom jaw right here, sort of on the almost on the, I guess, cheek or chin on both sides. You have the sort of more broad ridge line. One thing I think is really cool is when you look at this Rex front on, you can see both of its eyes. Hopefully you can see that here. That looks really cool because you can actually still make eye contact with it. But then you have the teeth sticking out, of course, on the from the upper jaw too. So lots of cool detail here. I'm sure I'll keep discovering it as I look around the figure. Paint wise, it's got a pretty simple base color, but really nice use of this lighter color on the bottom jaw that blends into the body, those darker stripes. I think it could have a little more color, sure, but I do think for the limited paint budget on this one, I can't tell that it's lacking, unlike some of those Wild Roar figures I reviewed earlier in a different video. But one thing I think that's kind of cool about this figure that we're seeing a lot with Rebirth toys are these painted claws. They're not actually painted. They might look painted, but it's actually a clever plastic bottom insert of the figure they've done. But I really like that because it lets them have that contrast of the claws without the paint scratching all the time. That's pretty common with painted claws. So kudos to them for figuring that out. Very similar to the rubber teeth here that we started to see with Dominion toys, where instead of having painted teeth, you have these great rubber teeth, which this new Rex has. That means that you can chomp off other toys to your heart's desire and not really have to worry about, again, paint coming off. But yeah, there you can see a nice view inside the mouth here. It's even got a little rubbery tongue here. It's not posable, but it's softer plastic. It's glossy. It even has some detail on it you can see. So pretty cool. I mean, the Rex face just looks awesome. Definitely looks like a slightly different take on the classic Rex, which I love. I do wish I could pose its mouth kind of open. So speaking of, let's talk about action features and articulation. Articulation's pretty standard, what you would imagine. Very clean, smooth peg leg movement. Very easy to do. And then you have these arms, which I gotta call out, are big and chunky compared to what we've seen previously on a Jurassic Rex, but they have a nice little pivot out, so you can pivot them out or you can pivot them in like that, and then they can go back and forth and like that too. And then yeah, the tail of course is on that rotating joint that I popped in, so pretty articulated tail. The neck is also articulated at the base, so you can do some really cool head turns. He can look up, he can look pretty much down. I mean, you definitely have to give him a little bit of help, but his head does have a pretty generous range of movement. He can also turn it pretty far to the side and stuff, so that's pretty cool. I always like a loose joint like that myself for the neck. I like to have that I guess flexibility to have him look around or look up and stuff. But where you don't have flexibility in this figure, unfortunately, is the biting feature. It's tied to this big button back here, very large, very play-friendly button. And again, just a very snappy action. Sometimes some of these toys always feel like they could break. I've had a couple Epic Chompin' figures have their bite break. This feels really, really solid. So I'm wondering if they've figured out the mechanic here. There's a lot of tension to it too. And just, yeah, you can hear it snapping. It's very snappy. So no electronics on this one. This is really just like a cheaper toy. I say cheaper, but this thing is about 30 bucks. So not quite as the $20 price point these figures used to be at. It's jumped about $10 since Fallen Kingdom. But at least the sculpt detail is looking incredible. I mean, just really nice. In fact, let's go ahead and compare it to some other Rexes. And who better than the two T-Rexes from Lost World? I think these are a great comparison example, and I'll take you through it here in a second why. But we'll go ahead and look at the first Legacy Collection T-Rex release here, because this is a good one-to-one comparison. This figure came out, I think 2019, meant to be the T-Rex from Lost World, but it's literally just a repaint of the Epic Chompin' Rex that came out at Target and Walmart the year before that. So essentially a one-to-one comparison to this new Rebirth figure. The paint job, of course, was for Lost World, but same sculpt. But I mean, when you look at these two figures, you get an idea of a lot of the differences in terms of just the design of the head, but also just the attention to detail. And of course, those rubber teeth look so much sharper. And again, they're so much more play friendly. And you can see this one doesn't have painted finger claws, but has painted toe claws. Other than that, I mean, the paint budget's definitely similar, but there's a lot more blending and airbrushing effect kind of versus sort of the harsher lines on this one. It just looks a little bit more, again, I think this is a nicer figure than the base Rex that Mattel has been using for Epic Chompin' for a long time now. So it was definitely due for an upgrade just from a toy standpoint. But of course, they changed the design for Rebirth, right? The Rex is even designed a little bit different. So I guess that warrants a new toy. But yeah, hopefully you can get a comparison there of just how much more detail is packed into this new figure, and get an appreciation for how much different it looks compared to the other Rex toy. And then just for fun, we're going to put the Bull Rex in here too, because the Bull Rex technically has a different sculpted face. And also, people have been saying that this Rebirth Rex looks a lot like the Bull Rex. So we'll go ahead and put Mattel's Bull Rex in here for comparison's sake. You can see, again, the Bull Rex, his own unique head sculpt, but not a lot of detail. Got that painted teeth versus this very beefy, very detailed Rebirth Rex in my right hand. So those are just a couple Rexes that I think make a great comparison here. But I think more interesting would be, of course, a human. Just for some awareness there, you can see a human next to a Rebirth Rex, next to all the other Rexes. You know, technically, this is not the you know, end all be all Rebirth T-Rex figure. There's another one, Power Devour, that's coming out. Some might argue that that's a little more in scale to a human figure, but I think this one scales pretty nice. Is T-Rex a little bit bigger in the movie? Maybe. Is he as big as the Power Devour figure? I don't know. That one could actually be too big, but I think this works pretty well. Definitely fun play scale. And, you know, I don't get like, you know, high and mighty and say this T-Rex is too small. Looks great to me as a Jurassic toy. So no complaints there. Now, how it compares to other Rebirth figures, you know, I'll do what I can. I don't have a lot of those right now, but I do have Quetzalcoatlus, which I'll bring back on the table just so we can get an, wow, look how big Quetzalcoatlus is. Even next to T-Rex, which is meant to be pretty big in the film, Quetzalcoatlus is just a large figure, large and in charge, and it looks beautiful. Definitely, if you're interested in seeing more of the Quetzalcoatlus, I won't turn this into a appreciation part of the video, but check out my previous unboxing video because this figure is awesome. But yeah, you can see him right there. Again, the Quetzalcoatlus is just a massive figure, which is really cool to see. But even more stunning of a comparison, of course, is the Distortus Rex. Got to get him on the table. Look at this. He's definitely the biggest of all three. Certainly bigger than the Lab Lockdown Rex. I do think these are scale great with one another. I wonder if that Power Devour Rex is going to be almost too big and make the Distortus Rex here seem like, you know, not technically a mighty foe, but this feels just right. I mean, the T-Rex is definitely a large figure, but, you know, the D-Rex feels just that much more bigger and overpowered. So I love the way these compare in size. It's really, really fun. So he's got the electronics. Rebirth Rex doesn't, but that's okay. But yeah, I mean, you can see here that Mattel's really thought about scale, really thought about getting those big sizes on figures. Cannot wait to get the Spinosaur in the mix here, and of course the Tyrannosaurus, right? That's going to look epic in this scale lineup. But really cool that this Rex fits so well in with those other Rebirth figures. But yeah, I mean, out the gate, I think you know, coming out for Rebirth, Mattel has a lot of cool figures coming out. Obviously, there's a lot of excitement around Spinosaurus and Mosasaurus, and of course Distortus Rex. How can I forget? But T-Rex will always be one of the, you know, top species, most exciting you know, dinosaurs in the movie, and therefore the most sought after toy. So no surprise that the Lab Lockdown Rex is just you know, one of two T-Rex figures, but man, is it awesome. Again, no electronics, but great articulation that isn't tied to an action feature necessarily, and some pretty cool posability too. It's got a very neutral pose, and of course you can do all those cool head tilts I talked about that let you add a little more personality to your poses, I think. So that's, you know, definitely a plus side of this one compared to maybe some of the other Rex figures coming out that are a little more action feature based or electronic based. So yeah, definitely love this one. Again, available at Walmart, going in and out of stock, but definitely check out the link in the caption. You can check out where to buy all the Rebirth toys, and as we head in here into June, there's going to be a lot of them coming out and a lot of places to get them, so definitely check out that list. But I think that's all I got to say about the excellent Jurassic World Rebirth Lab Lockdown T-Rex. Again, I'm Tim the Collect Jurassic. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.